My grandmother was 90 years old. She had a $5 million estate. My brother and sister manipulated her for weeks to change her will and cut me out. They brought a fake lawyer to her house. They lied to her. They told her I didn't love her. They told her I was stealing from her. But I had installed a hidden camera in her living room. I recorded everything, every lie, every manipulation, every moment they abused my vulnerable grandmother. When they won inheritance, I showed the judge the footage. He called it the worst case of older exploitation he'd ever seen. They each got 3 years in prison, and I made sure the world saw that what they did. My name is Emma Richardson. I'm 28 years old. I live in Portland, Oregon. This is the story of how my brother and sister tried to steal our grandmother's $5 million inheritance and how I stopped them. Let me start with my grandmother, Helen Richardson, 90 years old, sharp as a tack, independent, strong-willed. My grandmother passed away 15 years ago. Since then, Grandma lived alone in her beautiful house in the suburbs. She was wealthy. My grandfather had been a successful businessman. When he died, he left everything to Grandma: real estate, investments, savings. Total estate about $5 million. Grandma had 3 grandchildren. Me, Emma, 28. I lived 30 minutes from Grandma. I visited her twice a week, sometimes more. We were close. I loved her deeply. My brother, Marcus, 35. He lived in our way. He visited Grandma maybe twice a year, Christmas and her birthday. That was it. My sister, Vanessa, 32. She also lived nearby but rarely visited, maybe 3 or 4 times a year. Marcus and Vanessa weren't close with Grandma. They were busy with their lives. They didn't make time for her. But I did. I helped her with groceries, took her to doctor appointments, spent hours talking with her, listening to her stories. She was my grandma. I loved spending time with her. In 2022, Grandma updated her will. She called me, Marcus, and Vanessa to her attorney's office. Her attorney, Mr. Williams, explained. Helen was updated her will. Upon her passing, her estate valued to approximately $5 million will be divided equally among her 3 grandchildren. Emma, Marcus, and Vanessa will each receive 1/3, approximately $1.6 million each. Fair, equal, what you'd expect. We all thanked Grandma. She was being generous and fair. For the next year, life continued normally. I visited Grandma regularly. Marcus and Vanessa didn't. In early 2023, something changed. March 2023, I went to visit Grandma on a Tuesday afternoon, like I always did. She seemed tired, confused. Emma, sweetheart, did Marcus and Vanessa just leave? What? No, Grandma, I just got here. Were they here earlier? Yes, I think so, or maybe yesterday. I can't remember. That was strange. Marcus and Vanessa never visited on random weekdays. I let it go. Maybe they were finally making an effort to see Grandma. The next week I came out on Thursday. Grandma seemed even more confused. Emma, I'm so glad you're here. Vanessa was just telling me some upsetting things about you. What things? She said you've been saying mean things about me. Think you think I'm senile. My heart sank. Grandma, I would never say that. I don't think that. You're sharp as ever. But Vanessa said, Vanessa is lying, Grandma, I promise you. Grandma looked uncertain, like she didn't know who to believe. Over the next few weeks, I noticed a pattern. Marcus and Vanessa were visiting Grandma constantly. Always when I wasn't there. Always together. Never alone. Grandma seemed more confused after their visits. I tried to coordinate my visits with theirs, but every time I sucked visiting together, they had excuses. Oh, we're visiting Sunday afternoon. I'd show up Sunday afternoon. They weren't there. We're seeing her Wednesday morning. I'd come Wednesday morning, they'd already left. They were deliberately avoiding me. And Grandma was getting more and more confused about me. Emma, Marcus says you're only visiting because you want my money. Emma, Vanessa told me you said terrible things about me to your friends. Emma, they said you've been taking money from my purse. All lies, vicious lies. But Grandma was 90. She was starting to believe them. I was losing my grandmother's trust, and I didn't know what to do. April 2023, I made a decision. I needed to know what Marcus and Vanessa were saying to Grandma when I wasn't there. So I installed a hidden camera. Grandma's house was large. Her living room was where she spent most of her time, where she received visitors. I bought a small, discreet camera. It looked like a clock. You wouldn't notice it unless you were looking for it. I placed it on Grandma's bookshelves, angled to capture the couch and chairs where people sat. I was Grandma's co-caretaker. I had legal authority to install security in her home for her protection. This was legal in Oregon. I didn't tell Grandma about the camera. She would have been confused, maybe told Marcus and Vanessa. I just wanted to see what was happening when I wasn't there. The camera recorded continuously, uploaded footage to the cloud. I cloud watched from my phone. 2 days after I installed it, Marcus and Vanessa came to visit. I was at work, but I got an alert on my phone. Motion detected in Grandma's living room. I opened the app. There they were, Marcus and Vanessa sitting with Grandma. I put in my earbuds and listened. What I heard made my blood run cold. Marcus, Grandma, we need to talk to you about Emma. Grandma, what about Emma? Vanessa, we have to tell you this. She's been saying terrible things about you. Grandma, what things? Marcus, she told her friends that you're senile, that you don't remember anything, that you're losing your mind. Grandma looked hurt. Emma said that? Vanessa, yes. We heard her on the phone. She was laughing about it. Lie, complete lie. Grandma, I can't believe Emma would say that. Marcus, we couldn't either, but it's true. She doesn't respect you, Grandma. Vanessa, and there's something else. We think she's been taking money from your purse. Grandma, what? No, Emma wouldn't. Marcus, Grandma, have you noticed money missing? Grandma paused. Well, sometimes I can't find $20 bills I thought I had. Vanessa, that's Emma. We've seen her go through your purse when you're not looking. Another lie. I had never touched Grandma's purse. The visit continued for an hour. They slowly poisoned Grandma's mind against me. I watched the footage in horror, tears streaming down my face. They were systematically destroying my relationship with Grandma. Visit 2, April 14, 2023. This visit was worse. Marcus, Grandma, Vanessa, and I have been talking. We're really worried about your future. Grandma, what do you mean? Vanessa, your will splits everything 3 ways, but Emma doesn't deserve a third. Not after how she's treated you. Grandma, I don't know. I always planned to be fair. Marcus, fair? Grandma, she's been stealing from you, lying about you, using you. Vanessa and I are the one who really love you. We visit you all the time. Another lie. They'd barely visited before the manipulation campaign started. Marcus, we think you should change your will. Leave everything to me and Vanessa. We're the one who care. Grandma looked uncomfortable. I need to think about this. Vanessa, of course, Grandma, take your time. But just remember, Emma doesn't really love you. We do. April 3. Marcus, Grandma, we bought someone to talk to you. This is Mr. Richard Morrison. He's an attorney. A man in a suit appeared on camera carrying a briefcase. Mr. Morrison, hello, Miss Richardson. Your grandchildren asked me to help you update your will. Grandma, oh, I already have an attorney, Mr. Williams. Mr. Morrison, yes, but he's retiring. I'm taking over his cases. He sent me to help you. Lie, Mr. Williams wasn't retired. This man was a fraud. Grandma looked confused. I don't understand. Vanessa, it's okay, Grandma. Mr. Morrison is here to help. We told you you should change your will. Mr. Morrison, I understand you want to remove Emma Richardson as a beneficiary. Grandma, I don't know if Marcus. Grandma, remember that we talked about. Emma has been stealing from you. She doesn't love you. Grandma looked stressed, overwhelmed. Mr. Morrison laid out papers on the coffee table. Mr. Morrison, this is a simple update. It removes Emma and divides everything between Marcus and Vanessa. All you need to this is sign here. He pointed the signature line. Grandma, I don't feel right about this. Vanessa, Grandma, you're doing the right thing. Emma doesn't deserve your money. Grandma, but she visits me. She helps me with groceries. Marcus, only because she wants your money. Once you're gone, she'll forget you ever excited. Grandma started crying. I'm so confused. Mr. Morrison, Miss Richardson, your grandchildren have your best interests at heart. Just sign here, and this will be all over. Grandma hesitated. Then, with a shaking hand, she signed. Marcus and Vanessa smiled. Mr. Morrison gathered the papers. This will be filed with the court. Your new will is now official. After they left, Grandma sat on the couch crying. She whispered to herself, did I do the right thing? I watched the footage, devastated. They had manipulated my 90-year-old grandmother, lied to her, pressured her, used a fake lawyer, and I had it all on a video. I spent the next 2 weeks gathering evidence. Step 1. Verify the fake lawyer. I searched for Richard Morrison, attorney, Oregon. No results. I checked the Oregon State Bar website. Lists all licensed attorneys on Oregon. The Richard Morrison, I ran a reverse image search on screenshots from a video. Found him. Richard Morrison was actually David Fletcher. He was Marcus' college friend. Not an attorney, never passed the bar, never went to law school. He had committed fraud by pretending to be a lawyer. Step 2. Continue recording. Over the next few weeks, Marcus and Vanessa continued visiting Grandma, always reinforcing the lies. Emma doesn't love you. Emma is stealing from you. You did the right things changing your will. Grandma seemed depressed, withdrawn. She barely smiled anymore. One time on camera, she said to herself, I miss Emma. Why doesn't she visit anymore? I was visiting twice a week, just like always. But Marcus and Vanessa had told her I wasn't coming, and in her confusion, she believed them. Step 3. Documents everything. I created a timeline. March 2023. Marcus and Vanessa start frequent visits. April 10. First manipulation conversation. April 14. Pressure Grandma to change will. April 20. Fake lawyer was signed. April-May. Continued reinforcement of lies. I had over 30 hours of video footage. Step 4. Consult an attorney. I met with an older law attorney named Patricia Gonzalez. I showed her the videos. She was horrified. Emma, this is textbook older abuse. Undue influence, fraud. Your siblings committed multiple crimes here. Can we stop them? Not while your grandmother is alive. She signed the will. Legally, it's valid until we prove it was obtained through a fraud. But when she passes, and I'm sorry to say this, we'll contest the will. With this video evidence, we'll win. So, we wait? Unfortunately, yes, but document everything. Keep recording. The more evidence we have, the better. September 2023. 6 months after the fake will was signed, Grandma's health declined. She was 90. It was natural. I visited her in a hospital during her final days. Marcus and Vanessa were rarely there. On September 15, 2023, Grandma passed away peacefully. I held her hand, told her I loved her, told her I forgave her for the will. She whispered, Emma, I'm sorry, I was confused. They told me things. I know, Grandma, it's okay, I love you. She did, knowing I loved her. That was what mattered. But now, the legal battle would begin. October 2023, 1 month after Grandma's passing, the will reading took place at the attorney office. The fake attorney David Fletcher, pretending to be Mr. Morrison, had filed Grandma's new will with the probate court. The will was clear. I, Helen Richardson, leave my entire estate to my grandchildren Marcus Richardson and Vanessa Richardson to be divided equally between them. I specifically excluded Emma Richardson from any inheritance. Marcus and Vanessa smiled. The estate worth $5.2 million. They would each get $2.6 million. I would get nothing. Marcus looked at me. Sorry, Emma, Grandma made her choice. Vanessa didn't even look at me. The attorney, the real attorney handling the estate, asked me, "Miss Richardson, do you wish to contest the will?" "Yes," I said firmly. "I absolutely do." Marcus rolled his eyes. "Oh, come on. You're going to drag this out? Grandma wanted us to have it. Accept it." "I'll see you in court," I said, and I walked out. November 2023. Probate court will contest hearing. I hired Patricia Gonzalez as my attorney. Marcus and Vanessa hired an expected probate attorney. The courtroom was full. It centered family, friends, people who wanted to see how this would play out. Patricia opening statement. "Your Honor, this is a case of elder abuse, fraud, and undue influence. Helen Richardson was 90 years old when her grandchildren Marcus and Vanessa manipulated her into signing a new will that excluded their sister Emma. They lied to Helen. They told her Emma was stealing from her. They told her Emma didn't love her. They isolated her. They pressured her for weeks. And then they brought a fake attorney to take her home to have her sign a fraudulent will. We have video evidence of all of this. Every lie, every manipulation, every moment of abuse. And we will prove that this will be invalid." Marcus and Vanessa attorney tried to argue that Grandma had been of sound mind and made her own choice, but Patricia was ready. Patricia presented the hidden camera footage in court. The judge, jury, and everyone in courtroom watched Marcus and Vanessa lying to Grandma. Emma said you're senile, pressuring her to change the will. The fake lawyer appearing with documents. Grandma confused and crying, signing under pressure. The courtroom was silent. Some people were crying. Marcus and Vanessa sat stone-faced. Patricia called Dr. Sarah Williams, a psychiatric doctor. Williams reviewed the videos. "In my professional opinion, Helen Richardson was experiencing significant emotional distress and confusion during the interactions. She was being subjected to psychological manipulation, what we call undue influence. She was not acting of her own free when she signed the will." Patricia called David Fletcher to stand. "Mr. Fletcher, you appeared in Helen Richardson's house pretending to be attorney. Is that correct?" I was helping my friend Marcus." "Are you a licensed attorney in Oregon?" "No." "Have you ever been licensed to practice law anywhere?" "No." "So you committed fraud to be pretending to be an attorney and having Helen Richardson sign legal documents?" David Fletcher invoked his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. That told the court everything. Patricia called Marcus to stand. "Mr. Richardson, did you tell your grandmother that Emma was stealing from her?" I had concerns. "Did you have any evidence that Emma was stealing?" "No." "So you lied to your 90-year-old grandmother." "I was protecting her." "Protecting her or manipulating her so you could steal her inheritance?" Marcus had no answer. Vanessa's testimony was similar. She couldn't justify the lies. I took the stand. Patricia asked me about my relationship with Grandma. I loved her. I visited her twice a week for years. I helped her with groceries, took her to appointments, spent time with her. She was my grandma. I didn't care about the money. I just wanted her in my life. And when did Marcus and Vanessa start visiting chronically? March 2023, right before they started lying about me and pressuring her to change the will. And before that, they rarely visited, maybe twice a year. The jury saw the contrast clearly. December 2023, the judge delivered his ruling. "I have reviewed all evidence presented in this case. I have watched the video footage. I have heard expert testimony, and I have heard from parties involved. This is one of the most disturbing cases of elder abuse and undue influence I have ever encountered. Marcus and Vanessa Richardson systematically manipulated their 90-year-old grandmother. They lied to her. They isolated her from Emma. They pressured her to change her will. They brought a fake attorney, a man who is not licensed to practice law. They coerced her into signing documents she did not fully understand. Helen Richardson was vulnerable older. She deserved protection. Instead, she was exploited by her own grandchildren. My ruling: the will dated April 20, 2023 is invalid. It was obtained through fraud, undue influence, and elder abuse. The previous will, dated 2022, is reinstated. The estate will be divided equally among Emma, Marcus, and Vanessa as originally intended. The estate will be divided equally among Emma, Marcus, and Vanessa as originally intended. Additionally, I'm referring this case of the district attorney for criminal prosecution. The courtroom erupted. I cried in relief. Marcus and Vanessa sat in shock. January 2024, criminal charges were filed. State of Oregon with Marcus Richardson and Vanessa Richardson. Charges: elder abuse, felony; fraud, felony; conspiracy to commit fraud, felony; financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult, felony. State of Oregon with David Fletcher. Charges: unauthorized practice of law, felony; fraud, felony; conspiracy, felony. The criminal trial was swift. The video evidence from the civil case was admitted. March 2024 verdicts. Marcus Richardson guilty on all counts, sentenced to 3 years in Oregon State Prison. Vanessa Richardson guilty on all counts, sentenced for 3 years on Oregon State Prison. David Fletcher guilty on all counts, sentenced to 2 years in Oregon State Prison. Additionally, Marcus and Vanessa must pay restitution for legal fees, $75,000 each, to Emma. All this banned from ever serving as executors, trustees, or caregivers. Restraining order cannot contact Emma. After the probate case, Grandma's estate was distributed according to the original 2022 will. Emma $1.73 million, Marcus $1.73 million, held in trust until release from prison. Vanessa $1.73 million, held in trust until release from prison. Marcus and Vanessa portions were placed in trust they couldn't access while in prison. When they are released in 2027, they'll get the money, but they'll never get their grandmother back. They'll never have a relationship with me, and they'll always be convicted felons. As for me, I used part of my inheritance to create the Helen Richardson Foundation for Elder Abuse Prevention. Our mission: educate families about signs of elder abuse and undue influence, provide free legal consultations for suspected exploitation cases, advocate for stronger elder protection laws, train caregivers on recognizing manipulation. In the past year, we've helped over 150 families identify and stop elder abuse. We've also partnered with technology companies to provide free security cameras to families caring for already relatives. The same kind of camera that saved my grandmother's estate is now helping for other families protect their loved ones. If you're caring for an elderly parent or grandparent, please watch for these warning signs. Signs of elder abuse and manipulation. Sudden, frequent visits from family members who previously showed little interest, especially if they visit only when the other family's members aren't present. Isolation tactics. The elder becomes distant from certain family members or friends. Change in the elder's perception of family. They suddenly believe negative things about people who gave being caring for them. Pressure to change legal documents, wills, powers of attorney, deed, beneficiaries, new advisors, attorneys, financial advisors, or caregivers the family doesn't know, confusion or distress after visits. The elder seems upset, confused, or different after certain people visit. What you can do: install security cameras, documents everything, stay involved, consult an attorney, report to Adult Protective Services. My grandmother was manipulated by her own grandchildren, people she loved. But I was able to protect her legacy because I documented everything. If I hadn't installed the camera, Marcus and Vanessa would have stolen $3.5 million. They would have destroyed our grandmother's wishes, and they would have gotten away with it. Instead, they're in prison, and grandma's money is being used in part to help of other families avoid what we went through. That's the legacy Helen Richardson deserves. not the legacy Marcus and Vanessa tried to steal. This is Family Drama Thursday, where betrayal meets consequences, where hidden truth destroys lies, where justice protects the vulnerable. If the story resonated with you, share it. Someone caring for an elderly loved one needs to see this. Hit subscribe. Tomorrow is Revenge Friday. That story will satisfy your soul. Remember, document everything. Install cameras. Protect your elders. Trust by verify. See you tomorrow.